What's going on, guys? Will Mitchell here. We got a great episode for the channel today. Today I'm sitting with an amazing guy, James Baker, CPA. He has helped me and so many of my clients with a lot of tax information related to U.S., helping setting up companies, all of that good stuff. So James, thanks for joining me today and helping out all the viewers on the channel.
Thanks, Will. I appreciate it. Happy to be on the channel. You have some great content, and I'm always happy to speak with your clients and people that are working with you or thinking about working with you and helping them on answer their tax questions, basically.
I know after this, you're going to have a bunch of people reaching out. So guys, we'll put James's contact info in the description of the video here. So if you do have questions after, please reach out to him directly, and he's an absolute stud all-star, so he'll be able to help you with that. But so James, first, I guess just to start, really kind of broad, what is a CPA and why do I need one as a friend? Why do I need to be reaching out to one? What's the benefits here of working with you?
Okay, great. So I'm a certified public accountant, and what that means generally in the United States, a CPA is someone who specializes in income tax or audits. The audit people are the worst. The rest are income tax people. So I help people, two types of people really. I help people who that have nothing to do with the United States, open bank accounts, open companies, pay zero taxes, and do everything the right way. Everything's legal, above board. And I help people who are from outside the U.S., but mostly with you, Will, I'm helping people who are from the United States, who live in the United States, understand about their tax obligations of opening companies and investing outside of the United States, because it's quite particular as a U.S. citizen when you are investing and doing things outside of the U.S. It's particular. There's other informational forms. There's things you have to do. There's other considerations. So those are, I'm usually answering questions about that, inbound or outbound. But with you and most people on your channel, it's usually U.S. citizens or residents or green card holders who are doing some kind of investments outside of the U.S. or want to lower their taxes or something with income taxes.
Yeah, and I mean, that's important to know at the beginning of this, because you might be from Canada, you might be from Europe, and you're watching this saying, okay, U.S. tax, this doesn't apply to me. But there might be benefits for you as well. I mean, I'm not American, but like James said, I've done a lot of work with him setting up companies and stuff to help structure myself tax-wise. Or you might be American watching this, and you're going to be investing in Belize, you have invested in Belize, and you want to restructure or structure an investment you're about to make. So it's important to know for sure.
Yeah.
I guess, what services do you and your team offer?
Well, we start out usually with consultations just to see what we can help with. I don't like to oversell people. So if someone generally, again, with your clients, it's usually a consultation to kind of explain how things work. And if there's some structuring or some tax planning that needs to happen, we can do that. And then there's annual filing and IRS reports, like your 1040 that you do every year, any informational reporting, we do that too. So it's usually starts with a consultation, and then if you need more stuff, we'll help you with it. And then for people who are outside the U.S., we have that's what we focus more on, or at least what I like to do more is helping people who are like Canadians. I work with a ton of Canadians living in wherever, Thailand, Panama, Belize, and you don't pay taxes in Canada, you don't pay taxes in U.S., but you can use a U.S. company and U.S. bank accounts to invoice and to run your whole business. So it's a sweet deal, and I just help you guys, you Canadians, navigate that whole process and do it the right way.
Cool. Yeah, the Canadians, you just can't get rid of us, right?
I love the Canadians, man. You guys are so nice, and you guys have that envious life. You kind of don't pay taxes and fly around, live wherever you want. It's awesome.
Just lucky, right? Okay, so next question would be, what's the benefit of, I guess, say you're making an investment in Belize as an American, what's the benefit of using a corporate entity like an LLC or a corporation when doing so?
Great question. So there's not necessarily a tax benefit with using foreign companies. There could be. Mostly there's a legal protection benefit, and I guess administratively it's easier to use certain companies in Belize and certain structures like that. So it might be easier administratively. It might protect you more legally than owning your own name. And if those two things are present, you want to do that. And then if you can have the same tax impact as if you owned it personally or in a company, but you would get all those extra benefits, that's kind of what you would want. You have to look at kind of holistically. You want to see the tax impacts of whatever you're doing, but then you also have to look at the other things. And I say this a lot about people investing in real estate outside of the U.S. You really need to make sure you set it up right in the local country, because that's where the property is. You want to make sure you own it. You want to make sure you have no legal or tax problems in the local country. And then after that, we can make it work from the U.S.
Yeah, and I mean, we're lucky in Belize. Like, we don't have any capital gains tax. We don't have any estate tax. Property taxes are very low. So this end of things is really easy. So, I mean, as a Canadian or most foreigners entering the market, they can maneuver things pretty easily. When you're a non-resident, generally you don't pay tax in your domestic country where you're from. But as an American, you kind of have to deal with that regardless of where you are. What are the tax implications on that note if you're an American investing for passive income or for capital gains in a foreign market as a non-resident?
Great question. So I know when you help people find the properties they're looking for and they buy, you have your own process, and I guess oftentimes they end up owning a company that owns the real estate or something like that. With the Tax Cut and Jobs Act that passed in 2018, they basically removed almost all of the deferral aspects of that used to exist when owning foreign entities. So now we basically look at what you're doing and have kind of two options. We can just have you pay the GILTI tax or make an election for the company to be treated as a pass-through entity and just file it on your regular Schedule E. So if you're like just a person who lives in whatever, South Dakota, and you have a property in Belize and you're renting it, you basically just pay tax in the U.S. on your income that you're generating in Belize. There's other forms you have to file and informational things you have to present that are quite important and have heavy penalties if you do them wrong. But generally, from a tax standpoint, if you would pay tax here as a citizen of the U.S. because you're not really paying taxes in Belize.
Okay. On that note too, can you tell me a little bit about the foreign income exclusion and what that is and how that applies to Americans?
Great. So for those Americans who are considering buying a property in Belize and actually moving there and living there, this is when this would apply. The foreign earned income. So there's let's take a quick step back. When you're a U.S. citizen, you pay tax on your worldwide income. So if you live outside the U.S., you still have to pay you still have to report your income and pay taxes on it. There's different ways you can avoid paying taxes. Two principal ways, especially on like wages or income that you earn outside the U.S., and that would be either the foreign tax credit or the foreign earned income exclusion. If you live in Europe or something, let's say you live in Europe and you have a job and you make $1 million a year, but you're paying 50% taxes in Belgium or wherever you're working, you'll get a credit for all those taxes and you won't actually pay any taxes in the U.S. However, if you go in Belize and you have the same job and you pay zero taxes, then you're going to pay regular taxes in the U.S. The one exception is that then you wouldn't get the foreign tax credit, but you would qualify for the foreign earned income exclusion. And this basically, if you certify that you are a bona fide resident or pass the physical presence test for living in a foreign country, then you can exclude up to $125,000 of earned income, and that's the taxpayer and the spouse per year. And it's a little nuanced, but it exists, and it's definitely able to do. The one caveat here, without getting too too detailed, is that if you're a self-employed income is different than earned income. So if you are receiving money through a company and you're paying yourself a salary, that's earned income. But if you have self-employed income, you might still have to pay self-employment taxes. That's why it's important to discuss this with someone like me or another qualified person to make sure you're doing it right during the year instead of waiting until the year is over to discuss it.
Yeah. And what is the physical presence test like to pass that? What do you have to do to qualify for that?
So a bona fide residence test is much easier. If you can show that you changed your home and you have more connections to Belize, like your main home is there, you sold your home in the U.S. and you have friends and you go to church and you do whatever you're going to do in Belize, then you can say I'm a bona fide resident from the day you like officially moved there. The physical presence test is much more complicated. It's a rolling 365-day period, and you need to have been outside of the U.S. or present in the foreign country for at least 330 of that 365-day rolling period. And I haven't gone into detail on that in a while, but that's more or less, that's that part. So it's easier to do the bona fide residence test.
And with that bona fide residence, do you have to actually be a resident of the country, or can you just show that like you're living there? Because for example, in Belize, like you can come to Belize as a tourist and renew your tourist visa in perpetuity, but that's different than being a resident. Do you need that resident status, or could you just show you have a house here and show you're living here?
Let's check it out. It's on form 2555, and let's see, I'll go to the IRS forms. Let's see, bona fide residence test. They asked for the date it began, the date it ended, if you rented a house, if your family lived with you. Have you submitted a statement to the authorities that you aren't a resident of that country? Usually people put no. Are you required to pay tax in that country where you claim bona fide residence? And that would be probably yes is the idea. If you answered yes to 13 and no, you don't qualify. So you have to be required to pay income taxes whether you do it or not. And then you also can't submit a statement saying that you're not a resident. But apart from that, here you go. They ask for any contractual terms or conditions relating to the length of your employment. They want to know the visa type, and does your visa limit the length of your stay? Do you have a home in the U.S. and those things? But none of those answers necessarily preclude you from qualifying, but they do ask for the information. Whereas if you on this form, if you say that you're not required to pay income taxes in the country, then you would be precluded. You would be required to pay income taxes. They just don't have an income tax on this. So it's not like, you know what I mean? It's not like you're excluded from income taxes, just that their income tax is like 0%, right?
Okay, that's interesting. And so we have some people right now, like some people coming down here, and they are frustrated with what's going on in the U.S. Some people might be talking about getting rid of their U.S. citizenship. Is that ever a good idea, or should you, always hold on to that? What's kind of your opinion on that? I mean, in general, I feel like it's usually keep the passport, but
it's a great question. I mean, you got to have a backup passport first. You can't just be a stateless. So assuming you're a dual citizen,
I could be a good stateless guy, just wandering around.
they're gonna just when Belize is done with you, or they change their laws, it's gonna push you out on a boat, just like.
I'll your office.
You're gonna have a houseboat and nothing else. You have to you can't even get a visa because you have no passport. Yeah, you're gonna be like Tom Hanks in the terminal. Yeah, perfect. So yeah, you need to have a backup passport. You can get them in. You can buy one in Grenada for 200 grand, 300 grand, and buy an apartment. And they have great passports. You can travel a lot. There's a lot of options for getting a passport. Whether through investment or through living somewhere. You can move to Argentina for 3 years and get a passport. There's a lot of options. And yeah, that's a different conversation, but it's a big decision to expatriate. It's tough because it's once you expatriate, a lot of people really want that U.S. green card, that U.S. tax thing. And it makes sense for certain people, but for others, it doesn't. If it's only for tax reasons, you officially can't say that. But there's a lot of ways to mitigate your taxes, and there's a lot of ways to lower the amount of taxes you're paying. And having the U.S. passport is pretty powerful. A lot of people really, really want one. So it's not like a quick decision to expatriate. But if you know you want to do it, and you have a lot of future capital gains that are going to be realized, or maybe you have, it's just hard to do it for tax purposes. But even though that's what almost everyone does. So the short answer is, yeah, if you want to, you can. There's a lot of stuff to consider, though. And there's like from lifestyle and also from the future and also from a tax standpoint, there's a lot of things to consider.
Got it. This is just kind of a random follow-up to that just popping in my head right now. Say you do expatriate or get rid of your passport. Can you still go back to the U.S., or are they going to kind of like put a red stamp on your name and going to harass you for the rest of your life?
Yeah. So if you give up your So if let's say if you're dual citizen of Canada and the U.S., I believe you can still come in under your Canada passport on regular tourist visas. Like you would still qualify, and that makes some sense. It's probably, and I'm not an immigration attorney, but I imagine you would get much more scrutiny if you applied for a green card later and you applied for different visas, and they see like that you used to be a citizen, you're not anymore. I imagine you'll get additional scrutiny when applying for these visas in the future.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, James, I just wanted to start high level, guys. If you have any specific questions related to, U.S. tax, setting up companies, anything related to that, reach out to James. We're going to put his contact info below. Or if you want to see a follow-up video with specific questions, throw those in the comment section as well. And yeah, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, comment with your questions. One last thing. I want to say, don't let the fear of taxes dissuade you from making a good investment. If there's an investment that you like, if there's something you want to buy and you're really interested in doing it, have a consult with somebody like me and get some confirmation that it'll all be okay. But in general, it's going to have a similar tax impact as if you bought an apartment in Atlanta, as if you bought an apartment in Belize. So don't let that dissuade you from an investment decision. If you want to buy something and it makes sense and you're going to make money on it and you like what it is, just make the taxes work for it and go for it. The taxes shouldn't stop you. It's just something else to think about. Thanks for having me on, Will.
And one follow-up before we cap it off. Also, guys, if you're looking to make an investment abroad, make sure you go about it the right way. When you're making a real estate investment, the team is everything. You want to get the right components on your team to make sure you're setting yourself up with the right companies and getting everything in order for yourself. So definitely reach out to James and ask any questions you have and make sure you're doing everything the right way. But yeah, aside from that, thanks again.
Okay, thanks, Will. Like and subscribe.